Welcome back, our fellow patriots, to Save Our Republic Daily video series. We have gone through the Bill of Rights. We have finished the famous 11th Amendment, and now we're coming on to the 12th Amendment, which, again, no one probably knows on the street what that amendment is, but it is very important. It relates to how we elect our presidents. Under the original Constitution, we had an Electoral College, and electors were chosen in the way that the state governments elected to determine how that was. The state legislature of each state determined the process. And each elector would receive 2 votes. And they both were votes for president. And whoever came in first would be elected president. Whoever came in second would become vice president. And that is intuitively makes sense, right? You got a whole bunch of candidates out there. First person that wins or gets the most votes becomes president. The runner-up becomes vice president. And it worked great until it didn't. And it didn't work relatively quickly. So we had 2 elections with George Washington. Then we had John Adams elected, and he had Thomas Jefferson as his vice president. Thomas Jefferson became his political enemy and started to foster opposition to John Adams. And then following that election came the election of 1800. And in that election, Thomas Jefferson did not want to have John Adams as his vice president, so he recruited Aaron Burr to run with him. And the thought was that Jefferson would get the top number of votes, that Burr would come in second, knock Adams out of the presidency and vice presidency, and they would have a president and vice president that were a team. But something funny happened on the way to that election. All the electors who supported Jefferson also supported Burr. They each cast 2 votes. There was a tie for president. And of course, Aaron Burr then said, I know that I'm supposed to be the vice president, and step back. That's absolutely not what happened. Aaron Burr decided he would fight for the presidency. He got just as many votes as Jefferson. And Congress then resolves it. Now, how does Congress resolve it? Well, it goes to the House of Representatives, because they're closest to the people. The House of Representatives votes out of the top few vote getters for the Electoral College and determines who will win. Except they vote by state, not by number of representatives. So in today's world, California has 1 vote, Wyoming has 1 vote, California is the highest number of population. South Dakota or Wyoming has the lowest, and they would be equal because they just each have 1 vote. So they took 36 ballots in 1800 to break the tie, to allow Aaron Burr to lose and to give the presidency to Jefferson. Then, of course, Jefferson now had a political rival of his own creation as vice president. That's a fascinating story, which we could consume hours and hours of this video series on. But suffice it to say, he said when Jefferson finally took power, well, I'm not doing that again. And so there was a proposal to amend the Constitution, which was quickly ratified. And what that did is it said each elector would have 2 votes, but one would be designated for the president and the other would be designated for the vice president, which means you now have a slate. And not only do you have a slate like Jefferson and Burr, but you have a slate determining who the votes are cast for. The amendment also talks about some of the what we normally would consider to be perfunctory functions of how the ballots are counted. It goes, it goes to the Congress, and the vice president presides over the counting of the votes. Most people totally forgot about this and ignored it until January 6th, the storming of the Capitol and the counting of the presidential elector votes in 2021, which is how this video series got started. So it is actually very important. You need to know your Constitution. Until next time, don't forget about America's Survival Guide at americasurvivalguide.com, Patriot Lessons at the podcast, Patriot Lessons American History and Civics podcast, as well as Patriot Week at patriotweek.org. We also have a TV show at patriotweek.org and many lesson plans and lots of other things. If you are enjoying this, please like, subscribe, and share. God bless you, and God bless America.